We already know that so many people are wasting their time. They are doom scrolling away their lives one precious moment at a time. This is a topic that has already been covered in depth by many, including myself. Maintaining your attention span is a constant struggle that many consistently seek help with. Anyone who is on social media inevitably is aware of social media addiction, either because they knowingly have it or because of how much content is tailored towards addressing it. Either way, you know how easy it is to black out and lose hours of time and not even remember what you watched. In fact, that might be why you're here right now. If you are in this position where you have developed destructive habits that are eating up all of your time, you can find elsewhere all the tips and tricks needed to help buffer the constant distractive onslaught that technology inflicts. Go for a walk, read a book, whatever. There are plenty of sources that do a great job discussing those things, but there is something much more important that most, if not all, of this content misses, and that is this question. What were you trying to do with the free time that you just wasted? What do you intend to do with yourself? What do you intend to do with your time? See, time is like money in the sense that for it to have been wasted assumes that there was something better that it should have been spent on. And that is the question. What were you trying to spend your time on in the first place? See, along with the endless distractive vices of the modern age, many modern people are completely without deep purpose and long-term direction, either because they are truly void of such direction or because they do not actively pursue one. In terms of pure functionality, those are essentially the same thing. It doesn't matter if you say you want to do something, the only thing that matters is if you actually do it. And I believe that that is the soul of the problem, not simply the ubiquitous nature of distracting technology. I think if asked, what were you trying to do with your free time, most would not have a satisfying answer. Again, you might think you have one. Oh, I'm working on my screenplay. You haven't made any progress in 3 years. I'm writing a book. I'm writing a song. No, you're not. You're talking about it with your friends, and then you go home and watch tutorials on how to do those things. You might think you are pursuing something, but if all you are doing is talking about and watching about, you're just pretending. Look, there have always been many ways to slack off and waste time. Yes, there are now more ways than ever, but you know that isn't the only factor at play. Though split-tested and optimized to keep you hooked, these apps do not have magical powers. You are still the one that decides to focus or not to focus. You know this because when you need to focus, you can find a way to focus. No matter how fleeting your attention normally is, when the assignment that you have been procrastinating on for weeks is due tomorrow, all of a sudden you can focus. You have not been able to manufacture the willpower necessary to open up your textbook all semester. But now the final is tomorrow. You can focus. What happens here during these periods of long procrastination, safely X amount of days away, it is far easier and more enjoyable to procrastinate, to play video games, to watch TV, than it is to be productive and actually do the thing. But then all of a sudden, as the deadline closes in, there is a reversal that happens where the pain and anxiety of not having it done becomes stronger than the pain of doing it, eventually getting to the point where your procrastination activities lose their potency and you can't enjoy them because the deadline is looming over your head like the sword of Damocles. Then suddenly you are able to work. Anyone who has ever procrastinated on a school assignment, on studying for a test, on finishing a work project, on doing their taxes, anyone who has ever needed to do something, to get something done, but not today, just by some other day in the future, we all know what that's like. My argument in this video is that the reason why so many struggle to stop scrolling, to stop procrastinating, why so many struggle with the basic willpower of staying focused, and why it's harder for us than it maybe was for previous generations is not just because we have smartphones and our grandparents had the newspaper. It's that so many do not have the long-term drive or direction necessary to propel them. The stakes are not high enough, and the object of their pursuit is not important enough. Allow me to explain. See, what enables you to do the tedious little things on a day-to-day basis that incrementally bring you closer to your goal is that you know they will lead you closer to your goal, closer to your desired destination. When your desires are well-defined and must be completed by a set time, you can generate the motivation necessary to do what you need to do to pursue them. But if your goal is undefined, if it is at all vague or fuzzy, and you have no set time frame in which that you need to get it done, look, dude, you're not going to get it done because you don't know where you're going, and there is no point in time by which you need to be there. And if on top of that, you don't really need to succeed, if you do not really need to work to get your family out of poverty, if you do not need to study so that you can get a good job and support yourself, if you do not need to finish this project, this creative endeavor, because if you don't get paid and you don't eat. If you already have a comfortable enough job, or you still live with your parents, or otherwise have your physical needs taken care of, when your goals are creative in nature or otherwise outside of academia and the workforce, all of your motivation must come from within because it's not coming from outside of you. And I believe that consciously or unconsciously, if you know that failure to pursue your goals will not result in starving to death, and those goals are fuzzy and unclear, you kind of want to write a book, you kind of want to better how much you meditate or how many of the tips and tricks that you adopt. The vices of the world are stronger than you. They are stronger than your resolve, and they will continue to defeat you until that changes. The environment that truly makes people succeed is the one that leaves them with no other option. There are so many good stories of people who made the impossible come true because failure wasn't an option. There was no space for plan B. It was either plan A or die, literally or figuratively. I believe the reason so many cannot focus and why so many waste away the time that they should be spending on pursuing their goals is that the external consequences have all been removed. Failure is an option. And what's left, what's within you, what's in here, is small and weak and has no legs to stand on. Anytime it tries to speak up, you drown it out. Once you are outside of academia, once you are outside of the workplace, you no longer have a boss or a teacher telling you what to do. You no longer have someone else's judgment to decide whether or not you passed or failed. Once your material comforts have been secured and you don't have the rumbling in your stomach to keep you on track, it is up to you to decide what succeeding is and what failing is. The world will not do that for you. If you were on the razor's edge of poverty, and if you didn't work, your family would go hungry, you'd find a way to focus. If tomorrow's test was going to make or break your grade, the grade you needed to make so that you could get into law school, you would find a way to focus. If you have things that are important to you, and you want to get those things done that exist outside of the normal structures of academia, outside of your job, they are creative or otherwise personal pursuits, you need to realize that no teacher is going to fail you because you didn't turn it in on time. There's no boss that's going to come in and fire you because you missed the deadline and you didn't stay focused. It is just you, big guy. You need to realize that maybe if that thing that you keep pushing off, that you told yourself you were going to do, that you deeply want, but every time you try to work, the phone comes out, the video game comes out. Maybe if you do not allow that thing to become a necessity in your mind, to become like life or maybe it'll never get done. See, I think we want to believe that wherever we are in life, that no matter what we are currently struggling with, we want to think that just over the horizon, there's some grand catalyst that will suddenly make it all 1,000 times easier. Like there's going to be a movie moment where we take up our sword and say, all right, it's time to lock in. But from what I've seen, that doesn't happen. In reality, you are nothing more than your habits. That's all. The things that you do every day, that's you. So you're actually not an aspiring writer, filmmaker, comedian, small business owner, entrepreneur. You are an Instagram Reels consumer. You are a TikTok connoisseur. Imagine that on your headstone. This guy really loves TikTok and working his dead-end job at Walmart. If you do not force your habits to change, then you don't change. Not good. Very bad. all of the tools and habits that others recommend that you embrace to help you limit your screen time and repair your dismembered attention span, to stay on task, all of those things can work in assisting you in pursuing your goals. But they are not the goal itself. They are useless on their own. Without a meaningful goal to pursue, one in which failure is not an option, what's the point of lowering your screen time? For what? What's the point of having a robust attention span if you're not going to pay attention to something? These vices that you struggle with, they are not going away. The only thing that will allow long-term victory to be possible is for the possibility of failure. The possibility of you waking up 10 years from now having made no progress. The possibility of waking up 50 years from now having accomplished nothing in your free time except for struggling and losing to social media addiction. The only thing that'll make victory possible when bombarded with the cheap and easy distractions that the modern world gives us is for failure to be worse than death. In life, pain is inevitable, but you get to choose your pain. And I suggest you do so before it chooses you. You can either have a little bit of pain today or a lot of pain tomorrow. You get to pick. You will not be able to stop wasting away until you decidedly choose what it is that you are going to pursue. And only then, when the long-term thing becomes more important than the immediate moment, does scrolling and wasting time become more painful than doing the work. You do not need cheap motivation. You need a North Star that always shines. Memento Mori.
I can't close my eyes, save my life tonight. I got regrets I've stacked up, mountains high, no more torches to light, to stave off the fright.